Hey, welcome back. Steve here, and today I'm talking with Joe Dockery, an award-winning classroom arts and media educator. He's recognized as an Adobe Education Leader as well. He engages his students in real-world projects and gives them the autonomy to be creative. Oh, what an awesome talk. You will be inspired. So much to learn. And by the way, before you go, it would be so cool if you went to my website, stephenmiletto.com/reviews, and left a review. There's a button right there. You just push it, and you could tell me what you think about the show. Thanks so much for doing that, and enjoy the show.
It's the Education Podcast, your favorite show, with lots of groovy guests and they share what they know. So crank it up to 10 and let your neighbors know that here's another show with Dr. Steve Miletto. Teaching, learning, leading, K-12. Teaching, learning, leading, K-12. Teaching, learning, leading, K-12. With Dr. Steve Miletto.
A frontline classroom arts and media educator, a professional development leader, an author and frequent conference presenter, Joe Dockery makes sure his students work on real-world projects through partnerships he's developed with local businesses and organizations throughout the Snoqualmie Valley in Washington State. He's an Adobe Education Leader and has inspired educators coast to coast as they integrate technology tools and resources into the arts and media curriculum. He's received the Washington State Golden Apple Award, Radio Shack's Technology Teacher of the Year Award, both the Best of the Best and Making It Happen Awards from ISTE, and the Adobe Education Leader Impact Award. This is going to be so cool. Joe, thanks for joining me today. Say hi to everyone.
Hey, everyone. How are you doing?
Man, I'm glad to have you here. This is so cool. You got so much stuff going on, and it's too bad my audience can't see it, but you got this really cool classroom that you're sitting in front of, and all kinds of neat stuff. So before we go any further, Joe, let's start with your interest in technology. Where'd that come from?
Boy, I guess I've always been interested in technology since my brother and I got that first Pong game back in the 70s, In college, one of my favorite classes I did was a little independent study where I took one of those old Apple SEs, one of the first ones that you could actually draw with. And it was the lovely 16 Shades of Gray. And I was making all sorts of art, having fun. And when I finally got into teaching, I was the only teacher that actually brought his kids down to the computer lab and our Apple IIe's. And I used to just love taking the kids down there. I was a math science teacher, but I found ways to integrate it, making spreadsheets about, whales or something like that, So I've always loved doing it. I've loved to, and I found that the kids really are engaged with that as well. So it was a win-win for me.
That's so cool. And good stuff. And it's funny thinking because, so we're going about back the same time frame. So, so it's wild how far we've come. I remember us in a building where I was teaching, having this lab of these things called Mac Classics. Yeah, and the little towers, and with little bitty screens. But come a little ways. So good stuff. All right. So you're a classroom arts and media educator. What do you see your purpose as? I mean, what's that thing that kind of drives you?
Well, I guess I see many purposes, but one of the purposes is to give every single kid the tools they need to make their science report just a little bit clearer when they're communicating and a little bit more interesting to look at, or, to be able to tell their story with a video or an animation, do a stop motion animation for that horticulture class that they're doing. So I really hope that every single kid walks away with tools that they can use to help communicate and to just have fun. I mean, art is fun, and I hope that they have a lot of fun in my class. They walk away with a sticker that they designed and something, a keychain that they made on the laser, and something that they can share with their friends and family. And then on the other hand, I have kids that want to take this to the next level and actually create a career and a life out of this. And I really get a lot of enjoyment and engagement out of watching those kids grow from, I used to be a middle school teacher up till, now as a high school teacher. I love seeing those kids that get passionate about this subject and then go on. And I stay connected with most of those kids, and they come back and they teach my kids about the industry. This weekend, I put on the Puget Sound All Girls Film Challenge networking event. And out of the 20 professional women that were there, 3 of them were from former students, and it was just wonderful and heartwarming to see those kids giving back to, well, they're now women, giving back to my current kids, and helping them into that career that, they want. So I love both the beginning, giving kids those basic tools and then helping kids get into the industry.
That's so cool. And you mentioned something I make sure that I say, because, we've come a long way. Even though we've come a long way, the kids can still do stop motion, which is really awesome. I've seen some amazing Lego videos where they make Lego Batman and all of them interact with each other. But what's neat is that, we go back not so very long ago, and, lots of stuff had to be done by stop motion. And now the different types of animation and different things that we can do.
And in their pocket, they have this amazing tool that they can design cool graphics, make a video, do stop motion animation, just everything that they need is right in their pocket. And one of the, COVID was really horrible. I hated not having my kids in my classroom, but we did learn a lot about how to, get a lot out of a little. And, I also find that my kids are hungry to be back in school with each other, hanging out, with all the cool tools here and just having fun. So, I guess you appreciate more what we have when it gets taken away.
Oh, you got that right. It is amazing because once they get together, they can start collaborating and working on things and using those tools. And but it is funny because that timeout that we had, literally, I guess I should say, that was kind of a funny little. Yes, we did have a timeout. It lent itself, I guess, for people discovering. For a lot of the kids, discovery as well as adults, discovering the different tools that they had, time to take a look at them. Because, it's funny, when I was a classroom teacher, kids were lugging around those big video recorders, and now, it progressed from the big ones to the little ones, and now it's all right there in that phone, and it's just amazing what they can do. So, you got me thinking about those big old cameras they'd lug around, man.
Yeah, huge.
Drive their families nuts.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we're on Zoom right now. 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have known about Zoom, and now, I have businesses zooming into my classroom to talk to the kids about, work, or former students that are off in LA, working in Hollywood, and they can just in an instant be in my classroom. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool. So cool. And since you brought that up, let's talk about having your students work on real world projects. I mean, what do you hope to accomplish by doing this? And I got to make sure you go back to something you just started to mention a second ago, which is, could you share about those partnerships that you seek out?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, it's not always just me seeking it out. Now I've gotten to the point where they're coming to me, which is awesome. We do just a ton of design and production work for outside organizations and local companies, and some of them even not so local. So last semester, we had a mobile truck washing company. So they wash semi trucks, right? And instead of you driving your semi truck to their car wash, they come to you so that you don't have to put the wear and tear on your truck. How did I meet them? I was at a fundraising event, and my kids were doing this presentation on working with different clients, and they said, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Can you make us a logo?" So they zoomed into the classroom because they're on the other side of Washington State. They talked to the kids about what their needs were, what they were looking for. And then my kids did research on the business. They designed a bunch of different logos. The thing I love about those kind of client projects is that interaction with the client and the student. And in a normal assignment, you turn it in, you get a grade, you move on. Whereas when you're working with a client, first of all, it's much more motivating for the students when they know that this is actually going to go on the side of a van or on the side of a semi truck, or maybe, on a business card. So it's more motivating, and it's real world in that the one that gets chosen it's not done. The client then wants, okay, we really like this one, but now you have to do this and this and this. And that process of refining and going through, different iterations is super valuable. And it builds that kid's portfolio. Not only did I do a classroom project, but now I have a logo that is out there in the world being used by a business that I can put on my resume or I can put into my portfolio. And it's just an amazing opportunity for kids to build up their skills.
I love that. That's so cool. Just the idea of making connections with these entities that exist out there that need help doing things, and being able to say, "Hey, we got this," and that's and then solve it for them, whatever their issue was.
Well, and I always tell the business or the organization, the three things. We can either do it fast, we can do it good, or oh gosh, what is it? Fast, good, and quality, speed. Oh, I always forget the third one, but we're not fast. we'll do it really well, but we're not fast. And so they have to be patient because, we don't work 8 hours a day. We work 1 hour a day for 5 days a week, and nice. They have to be patient. And the other thing that I ask the business to do is give us feedback, talk to the kids, interact with them, tell them what you like, what you need them to change. And that interaction and that process is really valuable for the kids.
Oh, so much so. That's really cool. As a person who long ago, when he was a teacher, was a yearbook sponsor, and we took groups of kids out to meet businesses and sell ads. And then you got the fun part where some of the businesses understood that they're really kind of making a donation to the school. Yeah. And then you had the ones who thought that we were like a full-time advertising company. Where, well, exactly. We need you to do this, we need you to do that. It's like, whoa.
We are kids.
Yes, exactly. And I like the way you described it. We meet every day for an hour, not 8 hours a day. Or whatever.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And then there's, soccer games and testing and what other things, fire drills that, get in our way. It's good, fast, and cheap. We're really cheap. We'll usually work for donuts or pizza.
Nice.
We usually do a good job, but we're not necessarily fast.
I like that. That's a good logo.
Yeah.
The good stuff. All right. I've watched some of your videos that were made using drones, which I love that stuff. All right, it's just it's so cool. And could you talk about getting students interested in this type of photography? And by the way, one of my favorites. I was talking to you about this before we started. There's a car that's in a race or of some sort or something that's speeding around through like a desert environment, and the music just goes right with it. All it needs is like James Bond, running from it or chasing it, and then a few explosions and really good stuff. So tell me about that. Talk about that.
A few years ago, when drones became popular and affordable, it was this kind of sweet spot where our school district was building a new elementary school, and they wanted to document the building process. And so they came to me and just said, "Hey, Joe, if we get you a drone, would you go up there once a week and videotape the process from, breaking ground to finishing the school?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fun. Give me a period a day and a drone, and I get to go do that." So for a year, every day or once a week, I'd go up there and I'd film the process of building the school. So it was really cool getting to know, the construction guys and see how it was built, but getting to fly on a regular basis and bringing my kids up there and having them do it on a regular basis really gave us that day-to-day experience and repetition that you need to get really good at it. Some of those kids went on to film other things with their drones. Like nowadays, a lot of sports are using drones to study their movement. So now our football team has a drone pilot. That's just part of the team, and they film every practice and they're out filming games and stuff. There are some rules about you can and cannot film around stadiums, but So now I've got kids that are, you know, working real estate video, doing that drone work. So they're finding, a career path using that as just one of the tools. The other thing is it just gives you such a really cool perspective, right? Most film that kids are shooting is at eye level. If they get really creative, they might get up on a ladder or something like that, but from a drone, you just get a totally different perspective on that, whatever subject you're shooting. And it's just a whole nother level of storytelling. A couple of years ago, I had a student that made this documentary, and he had a ton of his own drone footage. Nowadays, a lot of kids have their own drones. It's not like they need my drone. They have their own. His drone work was so good. When we got the film back from the film festival, the judges wrote, it's too bad you use so much stock footage. He had shot every single piece of that, and it was so good that they thought it was professionally shot. Wow. And they took points off, unfortunately. We should have, explained that it was 100% student made. So, drones are really cool. And we're really lucky. About a mile from the high school here is a rally racing school. So they put you in this really cool souped up Subaru, and you just rip around this old logging camp. And that's what you got to see. Three of us we sat up on this bluff, and we got to fly around as they were ripping around on these cars. It was really a cool day.
That's so cool. That's it.
Yeah,
that's incredible. What good stuff. All right. So you got to tell me, any accidents with the drones,
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'll never forget the time we were filming the elementary construction, and there's a couple big trees next to them. And I made the mistake of saying, look out for that tree. And of course, the kid freaks out and flies right into the tree. Boom, tumbles down from, 100 feet up. And we had to send the drone in for a little repair. I think that cost us like $150. Nice. If you never do anything, your equipment will be 100%. But if it'll sit in your closet the whole time. So in my philosophy, I'd rather have it out in the kids' hands. And every once in a while, if we break something because we're doing something cool, that's worth it to me. I hate keeping stuff in a closet. Now, I don't want them to be stupid, and they have to, before they fly the drone, they have to go through a certain number of hours of training. They have to have an adult with them at all times. They have to pass both a written and a hands-on exam. So we definitely, safety is really important to us, but at the same time, we want them using it, and accidents happen.
That's so cool. So I got to ask, has anybody pushed it to see how far it can go before you lose control? Because it's
yeah. When we were doing that car stuff, we were actually a long, long ways away. You always have to keep it in, visual sight. That's our rule. And that's actually, one of the things that you're supposed to do when you're responsibly flying it. When I'm with them, they haven't, but who knows? They probably find some, their parents that might let them push that. And of course, like I said, nowadays, most of my kids have their own drones. What's really crazy is the ones that are doing the FPS, where they put the goggles on and they're racing those. I've had one of my kids went on from me and got into that drone racing. Oh, nice. My gosh. Those things, he's got it just ripping through these obstacle courses, and it scares me just to look at what he does.
That's awesome. Oh, cool stuff, man. All right. So, you've received some really cool recognition, and let's talk about being an Adobe Education Leader. What's that mean? And it comes with some requirements, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Education Leader is an awesome experience. It's almost coming up on 20 years of being an education leader. And I guess what I've really loved about that is the connections I've been able to make with both the other education leaders. Some of my best friends are, located around the country, and they're other education leaders, because we have so much in common, and we get together and we break bread and we do these really great experiences, and just consider them some of my best best friends because of those experiences that we've had at conferences and at, workshops in the summer. So it's great to be able to geek out, about something where, as a digital art teacher, I'm the only one at my school. It's like this little silo. And so when you get to hang out with other people that love the same stuff that you do, that do the same stuff day to day, it's just you get this instant connection. And it's brought me all over the country. And so I've gotten to teach other people and go to workshops and make friends, in Texas and Florida and Nashville. And there's just, I now have these connections with other teachers all over the country, which has been really, really valuable. And it's opened up other opportunities. Like I've gotten to author a couple books and work on online courses. And so it's been a great experience. And the Adobe family has been really helped me grow and become a better teacher. So I've really appreciated it. I always tell people I bleed Adobe red. So
Nice.
yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, and that I value very highly.
That's so cool. And I can only imagine because you'd be, you and yourself have a meeting together or something like this in your building.
Exactly.
But when you get a chance to, oh my gosh, the powers that come together, then I can only imagine.
Exactly.
Nice.
Collaboration.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. All right. So, you work for a certification, development company.
Yeah.
And, it's called Brain Buffet.
Exactly.
Can you talk about that?
A buddy of mine, another Adobe Education Leader, and I, we were going all to these summer camps that Adobe was putting on, and we ended up being roommates. And, whenever you hang out with somebody that long, you develop a great relationship. I'd consider him one of my brothers. He's just awesome. Rob Schwartz. He and I were just texting last night, and he was a classroom teacher that made these amazing tutorials, and people all over the country and all over the world were just, loving his tutorials. And I was also making tutorials. I put them on CDs, and he got smart and he started putting them online and started this company, Brain Buffet. The idea was, you're just going to be able to come along the buffet and get what you need. And so when he wanted to make the Premiere course, Premiere Pro, and the After Effects courses, he invited me to be the one that got to develop those courses, those online courses. And it's really the majority of the Brain Buffet curriculum is focused on helping students and teachers get certified, Adobe certified. So right now they call it the Adobe Certified Professional Exam. And we also were fortunate enough to be the subject matter experts that Certiport, the company that makes the exams, hired to help develop the exams. So we're educators. So we know what kids are, what projects are exciting for kids. We're part of the team that developed the exams. We're Adobe Education Leader. So we get to know ahead of time what, Adobe's going to be doing. We get to help them develop their software. And so we're kind of ideally positioned to help develop this curriculum. And so it was a great experience. And it's actually what my students use today. So, in my classroom, every kid gets the opportunity to get certified if they want. And we provide the exams, we provide the curriculum, we provide the practice exams, and kids, every week I have some new kid getting certified in Photoshop or Premiere or After Effects. It's awesome to be able to put on their resume or their business card, hey, I'm an Adobe certified professional in X or Y. So it's a great tool to help them launch that career. So and that opportunity then led to another opportunity with Peach Pit Press. So they were trying to do a series called the Learn series. And it was focused on getting certified for one of those exams. And I got to do the Premiere Pro and the After Effects book series, Learn series. And I always try to do fun stuff. So, the cars ripping around that you were just talking about from the drone work. Well, that stuff is in my course.
Nice.
And, I have my kids out mountain biking and they're always bringing in this amazing footage. I'm like, okay, Kate, can we use that awesome footage in these courses? So I really try to work stuff that I know kids are going to be engaged in. When I was learning Premiere Pro and After Effects and all these different softwares, I was using, I don't know if you've ever heard of lynda.com.
Yes.
It's a great library of curriculum. And it definitely helped me develop, but it's a little more at a professional level, more at an adult level, not at a kid level. And so I always try to make my curriculum, at that high school, middle school, something that's going to engage a kid, something that they're going to want to cut together.
That's very cool. So these books that through Peach Pit Press, the Learn series, this is something that anybody can buy, right? That you've created that help them get through these courses, become certified.
Yeah, and there's video tutorials built into the book. There's a web edition, so the kids can be, reading through the book. The nice thing about a book is it's got those pictures. You can dog ear things, you can highlight things. It's that physical, tangible piece. But the entire thing also has step-by-step video tutorials that the kids can watch. I like to have the kids. I have 2 monitors on every computer in my classroom. And on one monitor, they have the demo video watching me go through step by step, or watching another instructor from Brain Buffet or one of the Learn series book instructors talking to them. And then on the other monitor, they're doing the software. They're actually doing it. I find that to be the most effective way to teach kids. The nice thing about using those video tutorials in that self-paced course is if a kid's absent, or, a kid misses a lesson, or some kids, they just need something twice, or maybe they need something 3 times. They can do that. Another nice thing about those is they could do it at 2 times speed. Dockery's going a little too slow. I already know this stuff. Boom, put them on 2 times speed. I'm going really fast. And it allows kids to go at their own pace and to learn, the way that they need to learn. So I find both the book series and the online series is more effective than me sitting up in front of the classroom. You rarely see Mr. Dockery in front talking. He's really, mostly going around and helping individuals. And most of my curriculum is online or in that book form.
That's so cool. That's really awesome. All right. So I got to ask you this. This is, as I listen to you talk, if you had the chance to teach a main subject or content area, what would that be? I mean, if you could just say, I want to do this for a while, what would that thing be that you I just want to do this for a while. Let's put the other stuff away for a while.
Ooh, yikes. That is a great question. And I think I'd have to say science. When I was a middle school teacher, I got to teach science, and that was really fun. It's really interesting, and there's tons of great ways to integrate technology into it. So
nice.
If I was a science teacher, we'd be making stop motion animations of this concept, and we'd be graphing this thing on this and making infographics on this graphic design. So it'd have to be a subject that I could really weave a ton of digital art into.
I love that. That's awesome. That'd bring a whole new thought to, one of the things I love about, especially middle school science is you can get messy, it's like, and that'd be so cool with the technology mixed in there. You could have a blast with that, especially that stop motion stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. Getting messy is awesome.
Nice. Excellent. All right. So if you had a chance to talk with a room full of teachers who are interested in learning about creating engaging opportunities for students in their classrooms, what would you tell them is a great place to start?
Well, YouTube, the internet. I mean, there's just so many amazing resources out there. I think I'm more of a, I find the great resources for my kids. I find the opportunities for them, and I let them learn. I help them find the right tools. That's what it's all about nowadays. Everything is out there at your fingertips. I mean, there's just experts everywhere that are willing to share, like you, like me, and it's really about being that person that finds, kids have a hard time if you just say, learn this, go to YouTube, because then they have to sift through and try to find the right resources. My job is to find the right resources, set up the right schedule, help them understand what they're trying to learn, and then show them, you just learned this. Let's build on that. Let's build on this. Not necessarily nowadays, directly give them step-by-step instructions. That's not what I do. I find it so much more powerful to, I don't know, it's not like an archive, but what would you call it? When you're building the resource library, or
that works.
Just putting together the pieces to help them get to where they want to go. I mean, we start with goals. What do you want at the end of the year, or at the end of this unit, the end of this semester? What do you want to have done? Oh, I want to win this film festival. Okay, well, here's the steps that we need to do to get you that award of excellence. And you might not win, but at least you've gone through the steps and you've learned. Last weekend, we had a 48-hour film challenge, and we had 3 different teams that were competing. 2 teams ended up making these great films. One team just crashed and burned hard. And when we came back, it was like, well, this happened and that happened and that happened and that happened. I'm like, all 4 of those experiences were awesome. You are going to be so much stronger because of those things. And it was the young team. It was the sophomores, the seniors sailed through. Guess what? Those seniors went through the same pain those sophomores did just 2 years ago, Awesome. So, I don't know if I answered your question there, but
oh yeah, this is cool. This is it's one of the things that I gotta say, because part of what you're talking about is that there's so much stuff out there. You've also got to kick and spend forever just trying to find one thing. Whereas if you helped them out with that and got rid of some of the mess, and it's like I just recently went to YouTube. I like to go to YouTube to find out how to fix things, and so recently it was a lawnmower that had been sitting for a while, and the belt in it had broken, and I'm like, all right, I gotta stop putting this off, and I gotta figure out how to do this. Well, the problem is you go on YouTube, and the cool thing is there's so many people that are telling you how to fix even that exact model, but some of them do things like they leave steps out, or they suddenly they miraculously get this part off, and it's like, okay, how did you do that? Because that's the part I had the problem with. And, once you start vetting it and you get down to a couple of them that you kind of like their styles, then, that takes time. And so I can imagine the same thing with kids when you're talking about making film and so forth, or lighting, like the lighting of the room, or however you use this tool or that tool. They could spend forever doing that. And matter of fact, they'd be graduating and have kids by the time they figured it out.
Yeah. They get lost in the weeds easily. But that is part of what eventually they're going to need to do. I mean, like I said, I have tons of former students that come back and talk to me about the industry, about where they're at and what they're doing. And universally, they have to keep learning. They have to keep getting better, or new tools are constantly coming out, and they have to know how to find and learn those tools. I can't tell you how many times kids have said, gosh, you taught me Premiere Pro, but when I got out to the job, I had to use Final Cut, or, we learned Blender and now I'm using Maya, or, I've been using Maya, now I'm using Blender, and I had to learn how to do it, and understanding how to learn using those tutorials, learn the shortcuts, that process that we went through in class was super helpful. I also, last summer, I read a book, on motivation called Drive. Have you read that?
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So on my wall, it says autonomy, purpose, and mastery. And so that's what we're focused on, is finding what that kid's purpose is, and then giving them the autonomy to work on, what they need until they can master what they're trying to work on. So I'm really lucky that I have the tools, and my district has given me, like, my class, it's called digital media, and I have animators, filmmakers, graphic designers, they're all in one period. So it's this collaboration of kids looking at, trying to meet their goals, right? So I can't do just everybody's going to be focused on film for the next, year. It's everybody's working on their own stuff. And I found that book was really helpful
I can imagine.
for me and for my kids.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's cool. That's awesome that you put that to work for you, because that's something else when you have all those kids in the same class needing Mr. Dockery's attention. So at some point, so nice. Very cool. I love this. This is what a cool class and focus you have to be able to help kids to be able to have that autonomy to figure out and make the mistakes that might happen, and hopefully not too expensive, like slamming the drone into a plane or something, or a tree. But good stuff. Joe, if someone wanted to follow up and connect with you or learn more, where would you send them?
Oh boy. That's a good question. Yikes. I do have a website. I think if you Google my name, but to be honest, I got to be honest with you, I haven't been updating it very often, but it does have links to like the books and a lot of great tutorials. Brain Buffet is an awesome resource, but and we try to make it affordable, but I like to give people free things. Actually, the Adobe Education Exchange would probably be the one resource that I think is free, has great resources. I'm working with Brain Buffet on the curriculum that's going to be free, which I'm really excited about. I don't know if you've ever heard of Adobe Express, but it's their they're easy to use, free for educators and students software that has both a graphic design, a web page design, and a video tool. I absolutely love Express, and especially during COVID, it became my go-to tool because it was, free. Every kid had it on their computer. Every kid could have it on their phone. It was just a great tool. And I found that it was so easy that we could really concentrate on those design concepts or those video concepts or the animation principles, those core concepts without having to use some expensive, Photoshop or Premiere that wouldn't run on a student laptop. So we're developing that new curriculum, and hopefully it's all going to be on the Education Exchange or on the Brain Buffet website. But both of those would be great resources.
Excellent. I'll put that in the show notes so that it makes it possible for them to go find some of that information, as well as see the stuff that you're talking about. So appreciate it. Yeah. I got two last questions, and they're just general questions that I like to ask my guests. And the first one goes like this. How do you keep going when so much is going on that you may want to quit?
I'm like a shark. I have to keep moving. I get a great deal of enjoyment out of being in the classroom every day. I have wonderful kids that I love hanging out with. We make cool stuff. I mean, it's awesome, the stuff my kids, I get to watch movies for a living, or make something on the laser. I just feel like I'm the most fortunate guy in the world. So, on Saturday or Sunday when I've got a pile of stuff to grade, it would be nice to just go out and go for a bike ride. So I guess I try to keep a balance though of that home life, work life. So I do try to get out and do some exercise, but I'm super fortunate. I love what I do.
That's so cool. Awesome. Last question. Do you have a teacher in your past who made a difference in your life? If so, who was it, and what would you say if given a chance to say thank you?
Oh man. Yeah. I guess the Mr. Gibbs in high school was awesome. He was my yearbook, and he taught math, he taught science, and photography. Gave me that start in, I guess, media, making photos in the darkroom. So Mr. Gibbs was awesome. He was kind of a crazy old scientist guy, and I really appreciated him. Took us on trips for National Honor Society, and he was a great old guy. And then in college, I had a professor that let me do that independent study art on the computer when there was no art on the computer classes, and I was racking my brain for his name, and I could picture him clearly, and I can't remember his name. So I'm sorry, college professor, but you were great and giving me the flexibility to do that. I really appreciated that.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing. And Joe, thanks so much for talking with me today. If you just got this cool focus. I mean, keep doing what you do. You're an inspiration to helping us understand more about getting kids to want to do and accomplish more. Wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope to see some of you maybe at a conference or on a training sometime.
Hey, you have been listening to Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12, a podcast to help you help kids achieve their dreams. Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12 is a member of the podcast network based in Canada called Voice Ed Radio. Voice Ed Radio, your voice is right here. The opinions expressed on Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12 are those of the guests and host. Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12 is intended to share ideas, advice, and suggestions. Teaching, Learning, Leading K-12 is produced for educational purposes. Hey, thanks for listening. It would be awesome if you visited my website at stephenmiletto.com and connected with me, left a review, and listened to more episodes. And by the way, you could also share it with your friends, with your family, and your colleagues. Thanks so much. You're awesome.